Hey guys, since we're all stuck in because of social distancing in the house, I thought what a better time to show y'all how to make chicken and dumplings. Y'all been asking me every Thanksgiving, so I thought I'm going to show y'all how to do it today. So, what I've done is I found it. Usually, at Thanksgiving you find these big chickens, and they're called hens, and that to me makes the best flavor. But I couldn't find that today, so this week. So I found this though. It's called Purdue Whole Roaster, and it's really one that you would put in the oven and roast. But I decided to take it out, and I cooked it just the whole thing. I stuck it in my Dutch oven pot, which I love the Dutch oven pot to do this in. A nice heavy pot if you've got one. And this has turned out great because it's a real strong flavor, because that's something you want, is a real strong flavor. So I put the chicken in there, then I put a bunch of water to where the chicken was just poked out a little bit, like that, put the lid on it and cooked it. And after a while I kind of flipped the chicken over. This just speeds the cooking process a little bit. I flipped it over so that the bottom half would also be underwater and would continue to cook. And once that was done, and throughout it, it might cook down some, so then you want to, you bring it to a boil and you turn it down, and then let it just kind of boil just a little bit as you're cooking it. But then I've had to add more water. So the thing about every time you add water, you want to make sure it's still a strong flavor. So at the end, when I took the chicken out, of course all the water went way down. So I put about 3 more cups of water in it. You could put, instead of water, just that chicken broth that you buy and just pour that in. But what I did was I put 3 cups of water, and this is something I have found that I love. And it's chicken bouillon cubes, but it's a certain brand, this Coors. And I use this in spaghetti sauce too. I put one of these in spaghetti sauce. This was something I read on YouTube or somewhere about using this in spaghetti sauce. The Italians do it. So I put water and then one of these in, but it was really already pretty strong flavor even with the water. And of course when I put the chicken in, I put some salt and pepper in it. Pepper is just a real trick to making this stuff taste good. Chicken pot pies too is use a lot of pepper. And so I feel like it tastes salty enough, but I am going to put more pepper in this thing. And then what I've been doing is I got it all out because I don't want to, we want to get it all out, put it in a bowl or something, and it's still really hot. You want to cook the chicken as early as you can to let it get cooled down. So I've been putting it over here trying to cool it down so that I can shred it, put it back in the pot. So that's what I'm working on now. Okay, so I have shredded the chicken. You can look over here and look at the chicken, dark meat, white meat. The main thing I was trying to do is make sure that I left the bones in this pot here. I don't want any bones or any gristle in our chicken. And so I'm stirring it up a little bit. I put pepper in there, and now I'm trying to get it to come to a boil. So while that is working, I'm coming to a boil. Boy, that's a lot of chicken that came off of that bone. Let's see, I'm cooking some biscuits too. I'll keep an eye on those. Don't let me forget. As a matter of fact, do that. All right, so now, there's several ways to make chicken and dumplings. You can Google and you'll see all kinds of ways to make the dumplings. And as y'all know, most of you that are seeing this, we had a Granny Signer and a Granny Thomas. And each of them cooked very differently and had different methods. I mainly use Granny Signer's methods. And so with all I do is, this is just like the Food Line brand, self-rising flour. I put it in a bowl. And okay, come over here to the refrigerator, and I get cold water. You do want to use the really cold ice water. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put a little bit of ice in the water. Get it nice and cold. Okay. And I need to get a spoon. I'm just going to pour this cold water into the flour and just stir it up. Get it nice and moist. It doesn't, you know, just throw some flour in a bowl. If it's not enough, you can just do this again and make some more. If it's too much, you just throw it away, what you didn't use. But I had about a half a bowl in this bowl. And now I'm just getting it really good and moist.
Mommy, can you get me a sippy cup?
Okay. Still got some flour down there, so I'll just pour some more. And just get it really good and moist. Now the trick to all of this is you just want to, hold on, Maddie needs a sippy cup. Let me grab her sippy cup. The trick to this is use plenty of flour, because this is getting real sticky. You see how sticky it is? So once you've got that good and wet and sticky, then you start just use plenty of flour. So I took some, you know, wax paper, threw it down here, and put flour on there. But I'm also going to just pour a little flour on top of that, so it'll be easy to deal with. Take my hand and just kind of press it down a little bit. Okay. I'll pull out some of it. Now this rolling pin, is my favorite rolling pin. I found this at an antique shop, and I love to think that maybe some little old lady used to make a bunch of dumplings with these. But it's a small one. You can get different sizes, big ones, small ones in rolling pins, and I like the smaller size. Like I said, I found it at a thrift store. And so I'm just rolling more flour on top of this and getting lots of flour in it before I even start rolling it out, so that it doesn't stick so good much. And now I'm just rolling it out. And the thinner you can roll it out, I think, the better. And see, it's getting sticky right there. So I'm just going to take some flour, put it on there. You can put flour on your rolling pin, which I think I need to do. That's what you just don't want it to. And you see, there's no pattern to this. I'm not trying to make it nice and fancy. Now, Granny Thomas, she did a different method. I think she used the other type of flour, not self-rising, plain flour, and did it a different way. And I tried it that way, but I think this is delicious just like this, and it's the simplest. So I'm all for simple. Okay, so I got it pretty flat. Now, again, Granny Thomas would have just made some real even cuts and just everything all cut just right. But Granny Signer did not. All right, I'm going to turn this down. It's starting to bubble. Turn it down. So once it starts to bubble, then you can start putting these in there. And you just do them any old way. And you just start throwing them in there. So I'm just doing this. They can be long, short, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how much flour is going in with it. That just helps with the broth. Okay, so here's some more of them. And they kind of stuck to the bottom, so they're squishing up a little bit. That's okay too. You do not have to be neat with this. What you do want to be careful with is to not put too many dumplings in, because which is, I'm bad to do, I have to watch that. But if you do, it will burn at the bottom. They'll start to they weigh, the new set that you put on weighs down the others, and then they get to the bottom and they'll burn. So you just need to be careful about that. So as you see, I'm going along here. I don't want it bubbling too hard, so I'm going to turn it down some more. I just want it now that it's gotten to bubbling. I'm just going to turn it down. Okay, so you look in here and you see I've done right many. I did another batch and rolled out another batch, and as you put them in, you just throw them on top of each other, and they start, working their way down. And now again, Granny Sue and Granny Thomas were very different. And I believe it was Granny Thomas that told me never to stir it. Do not stir it. Just shake the pot. Just shake it like this. And that is something I do, but as a way of stirring it. But I think Granny Senior also did a little bit with a spoon, so I tend to do a little bit with the spoon, because it helps me to figure out if I can put any more dumplings in. And I think I can, because this is very still soupy. See how soupy it is? So I'm going to put a few more dumplings in. Okay, so you see how these on top I just threw in. And so don't worry, because they'll eventually I'm going to do Granny Thomas's method of shaking the pot. They'll eventually go down. Not just do Granny Signer's method and stick them down with a spoon. That's one of the reasons I love to do this, is because I can hear both of them talking to me at the same time when I'm doing this, arguing with each other about how I should be doing it. But it's getting thicker as we go. So this is looking good. So I'm going to turn it back up just a little bit and let it boil a little more, so it'll come on up and over the other ones. And then, as soon as that happens, all these are ready. Get good and covered up. They're ready. It's ready. So that's all you got to do, except clean up the big mess you made. And I'll show you the end results in just a little bit. Okay, so I've let it cook about 20 more minutes after I got like 3 big batches of the dumplings in. And so it's all ready, and here it is in my plate. Doesn't that look delicious? Man, if I just had some of Joanne Thomas's dressing that she makes at Thanksgiving, that would just top it off. But anyway, I think this is going to be delicious. Happy Easter, everybody. And you see how simple it was? And you thought it was something difficult to do. But that was the trick to it all. It's very, very simple. Bye.